All right. AUD USD September 2nd. So this is a trade I took earlier in the day. I took a break-even trade, and we'll go over it in a few. But let's go and do a complete breakdown of the whole day. How can we know that price isn't going to go lower? How can we know that price is going to go higher? We'll discuss about all this. So first and foremost, the goal is to identify where is the intentions. What I mean about intentions is where is the liquidity? What is the market trying to give us, right? Really, really important. So now let's go. I always start my analysis at maybe like half of Asia, and I go from left to right. Remember, I wake up around 7 a.m. my time, so around this here, this is where I wake up, and I immediately go to the computer and I start looking at the charts. And usually I take a trade probably 30 minutes after I wake up, around 8 a.m. So New York open. So let's start with Asia. Coming out of Asia here in the middle, we see here that we have a clear structural low. There's no doubt about it. The candles are fast. There's speed, momentum, we know. And this is a relevant liquidity, right? Really important. We see it here. We have no doubts. Now, price continues, comes back, retests this zone here, okay? Nothing too major, because since those breakout traders experience sometimes a little bit of drawdown, they don't get hit at break even here, and there's no real intentions of new structural low. If price would have done like this and this and then come back and continue, then we would have an indication that price has been moved to break even. Okay, so now we don't have nothing here. Almost out of Asia, we have a new structural high, right? So we have breakout traders entering. We also have these break and retest traders entering. We're going to remove that box because you guys are already expert. You already know where the box is, but I'm still going to put a structural point here, right? Now we can also see that the variation number 2 of break and retest traders have entered here, okay? So you guys can see already that now we have price building liquidity to upside. And a lot of you guys would say, oh, okay, but we had a structural shift here that price did a mini structure, and then there's potential in SMT here. You are not wrong. You're completely right. But for us, it's completely irrelevant to mark up such insignificant liquidity inside of Asia. We start the good stuff when we're coming out of Asia. Now price pushes higher, right? Now we have here price continues to push higher, and then we liquidate at the same time this stop loss here, right? We already know it got to be induced at whatever time it has to be done. Okay, now we have price coming back, potentially, not 100% sure, potentially breaking retests here entering. I don't really like it because it doesn't come back and test this zone, and it's not really a support becoming a resistance. So I'm not going to put it here. And this is where, when I was doing my analysis this morning, this is where it actually stopped. I had to think for a minute, because if there's a breakout in retest traders not entering here, we need at least this is a structural point. And now you see exactly that price comes back and like, the candle doesn't close above. There's no indication that there's a break. Price plays a lot. There's a consolidation that the retail call. It's not clear, in my opinion, and I think that it's something that you should look for. Also, look at this point here. Like, look at this. We have no doubts that people are entering here. Remember, they put sell stop or buy stop limits here. They literally put pending orders above those highs. but some traders also look for candle closure, and price here seems a little bit messy. Okay. Now, what we got here, what's really interesting is a real structural shift, because we had it here, right? Price pushed, 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 failed to make a new high. You can see the candle hasn't closed above this previous high and then closed below. This is what we call a structural shift. So remember, it's a FBOS. If you got it right, perfect. Now let's think about it. We have also new breakout traders entering, right? So here I'm going to remove this here. We have that FBOS, but we also have breakout traders entering. So this is really important that you guys need to understand. Remember, when we have an inducement, we look to the left. At this point, there's nothing here. We do have that higher time frame mitigation, but the problem is, since this mitigation here, this is, I'm just gonna slow down because I think I'm going too fast and I might confuse some people. A lot of people wonder that, okay, we have liquidity here. Price induces Asia high. How come we're not targeting lows? Really excellent question. Remember, they also have people entering here. Price made a significant push in here. So if we see it here, people entered here, we have no doubts. Structure is here. This is a significant structural point. So if we account that when we go in here in M5 again, we are in a potential SMT area because of this structural low here. This means that price in here is less attracted than this higher time frame SMT. Okay. I think it's important that I covered those kinds of stop losses in another video. It's just a matter of understanding that the overall play. Look at it, okay? Look how the price. Let me just put a bigger thing here. Look how price does this here, 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 here. Look this here. You see it. Take a minute just to see if you see it. So there's two things you need to see. We have the retail traders looking for short because we have that new structural low. This is a break of structure. Oh, then we have also buy side liquidity being built as of people mitigating this zone. How can you know exactly if it's this point or this point that will be liquidated? You cannot predict this. We work as an intraday perspective, and I surely look at this point in here, right? When we have that structural shift to the downside, I know that they're trying to induce early sellers. So let me just put an SMT here. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to remove that SMT area because we already know it's a high time frame trap. Okay. So remember, there's potentially a bigger zone here just to respect and see where it gets triggered. And this is exactly where I got involved because I saw that FBOS, I saw that the structural low, I saw that price mitigated this zone in here, right? We had also some liquidity here being built to the downside, clearly stated with that engulfing candle. And I went into a lower time frame and I found my entry. That was my entry, as you guys remember. That was my entry here. Do this here. So that was my entry. Then we had our call. This was my partials, and the overall area was this one here. Okay. The structural point to the left. When we had our call, I wasn't monitoring the chart, so this is why I decided to move to break even when this structural point has been taken. But this is also a relevant break of structure. And then when we tapped into the SMT, I got an alert in here. Remember I told you guys, look at how the candles are closing here. There's a video called M5 higher time frame purpose. If we go up in the time frame, we can see that there's still also a break of structure here, a false break of structure, or a change of character for them. So price goes and reacts to this zone. And the only thing we went and came back in was the initial mitigation zone, because they just tried to trap sellers one last time. To invalidate that SMT, price would have gone below this zone. And this is where I got in, right? And I just waited until price went into this POI, pushed higher. We have that here, that relevant break of structure comes back into this zone again. As you guys can see, I wasn't fast enough to take it here, so I took it like a couple of pips higher. Remember, with my experience, I have really tight stop losses, but the current better stop loss would be this zone here. And it makes total sense if you see it that way, right? What is important about this current day is that there is no liquidity here because price hasn't done clearly a new high. Is there people entering? Of course people are entering. They put sell stop, they have EAs entering. That candle closed above. Of course, but our goal is not to identify who's in or who's not in at or on how many percentage. Our goal is to have no doubts. No doubts. Look at it perfectly how they break this zone here, right? So this means we have valid structural liquidity here. Look how they come with speed. Look at this. Look at the candle. Look at the candle. This one. Look. For me, these are things that I see every single day. I go on lower time frame, I go on M5, I see those candle closure, I see it reacting with speed, taking this liquidity, and then pushing higher, coming back into the mitigation area, and then we just wait for an entry confirmation. The only thing impressive about this is my entries. But if you understand where liquidity is, you could enter at whatever with a bigger stop loss and still have a great trade. The key part is to knowing exactly that price, there's no liquidity here. And also when we see traders wanting to see Asia high being induced, I saw some questions already in Discord, people, and they just try to short from here. First of all, you have an inducement of Asia high. What's on the left? What's on the left? Where's the structural inducement? The imbalance is not even filled. There's nothing. We have in our higher time frame zone that made a new low. If we look to the left, it had take relevant liquidity also here to the left, right? So we're trading away from this zone. And this is exactly what I was showing earlier, right? We have this zone for the retails, but we have also this zone that has been taken to the left. We have a relevant break of structure. We have a mitigation to go higher and to target this SMT zone. This is the plays we want to look for, and these are the plays we want to be against. We don't want to trade and we don't want to be involved with higher time frame SMTs. The moral of the story is understand intentions, where they are, and look how price pushes. Eventually these guys are potentially moving to break even, but break even hasn't been triggered yet. Okay, do we have people trailing their stop losses? Potentially. That's not our goal. We just want to identify that there's no trades in here because we have no structural inducement to the left. We have no liquidity taken to the left. And as we can see here, there's no liquidity below. So we trade into the inducement, and that inducement has been shown with that SMT. We know that this is the first structural shift of all this price action, right? look, boom, we automatically identified the SMT, came back into that imbalance POI, came back into that also trap area. It's just unfortunate that price hasn't went directly. That SMT actually hold a little bit and came back into that zone. Was I right to moving to break even? No, because for me, the valid break even would have been potentially here, but that was also my partial zone. So I had to take a decision and we had a call. You can always manage your trades and your emotion, but you need to stick to it. So basically, I took the decision to take a big E here, but then the entry was still valid. It's not because I took a B that I cannot be involved again. The idea was still valid, and it was actually way more confirmed than what it used to be based on that SMT reaction. So then we came back, we took this stop loss here, and price literally, look how perfect. Again, we built new liquidity below here, and look how perfectly price came back and taking all of this liquidity and went perfectly. You take this one, and now there is no more liquidity. And look the reaction of it. Look how they came back perfectly here. Because remember, this is also something you need to understand, that now we're rebuilding buy side liquidity, and also people entering here. They're being either break even, or we have break and retest areas entering here, right, to go higher. But look how the price died. And then people keep telling me that liquidity doesn't exist. What I did today that I sent to you guys is exactly what I expect you guys to do. You need to understand exactly what happens and try to keep it simplified like I do. Don't go into the over refinement stuff like this, now this. Like, we have so much stuff to think about. Let's not complicate our lives with complex markups. Structural shift, not structural shift, sorry. Structural push, liquidity. Structural push, liquidity. Here, blue, boom. Here, no confirmed high, no liquidity, right? FBOS, oops. My bad. AUD, USD. Where was it? Okay, here, structural shift, liquidity, pushing low, blue candle here, liquidity. Look how it pushes higher, boom, comes back, boom, right? We could have take this short, but I would have go just this, and it was like kind of a 1, 2, 3, so it's completely stupid. I just want to get involved into trades that push fast, that TPs fast, so I can end up and do my day. So the question remains, is there still liquidity here? Of course. Will it be triggered today? It doesn't have to, because especially since we were already in the higher time frame SMT, your goal is to react to which liquidity is being provided. And in that case, with the FBOS plus that SMT that was also on FBOS here, not on FBOS, retail breakout structure, not a FBOS because we didn't have a structural shift, but since this pushed a new low and we had that break here, we're just training away from it. I know that it seems easy the way I explain it, but don't try to take those trades. And this is something you guys need to understand, because a lot of you want those breakdowns to understand how I entered and trying to enter the same way. Your goal shouldn't even be trading right now. Your goal should be identifying the liquidity. Why is there no stop losses here? It's simple. We didn't have clear enticement higher, so there is no liquidity here. Try to identify this live, and if there's anything, you let me know. I hope you guys enjoy these little clips, It's just fun to put my brain into the videos and being able to explain my thought process. And I want to make sure that you guys practice before even thinking about taking trades. You're not going to regret it to just practice, right? Cheers.